Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. This is Ashton here with 1 Minute Mentors. Thank you for watching No Wasted Time. I'm here joined by Andrew Dettleback. He is an amazing guy. I'm so glad. We actually are a friend from college. We took the same kinesiology classes, and he has gone off to become a true success in the fitness realm. So I'm really excited about bringing him to you guys. He's a co-founder of MoveU, which is an amazing, program. I would say it's a program, but he could delve a little bit further into that.
Yeah.
He has a lot of great stuff. He is the shirtless guy on on Instagram, but today he's wearing a shirt. Thanks, Andrew. But thank you so much for joining us today, man. I'm so excited to get to know you. So this show is all about learning about your philosophies and understanding, how you got from point A to point B and what you're doing moving forward. So if there's anything that I might have forgotten in that intro, just go ahead and elaborate for everybody. Awesome, man. So I know I forgot a little bit about MoveU. If you can explain that to people, what MoveU is and what you guys are trying to do with that brand.
So MoveU, well, first we started out as a chiropractic clinic. Mike is a chiropractor, and he taught at Cal State San Marcos, and that's where I met him. And were you in his class?
Yeah, we were in the class.
The first one with him?
I only took the first one. I didn't move.
So we were in his class, and he had about 5 interns for that class, and then, sorry, 5 teachers' assistants for that class, and he took all of those teachers' assistants as interns to his business when he started to create his own business. I was the only one that stuck around. I was the only one that could handle his excitement, his spasticity. So with that, we were in a chiropractic clinic for about 4 years, and our sole focus was to get people better as fast as possible. And we would try to do that by, you do the adjustments, you do the beat downs, you do the gnarly massages. We would just beat the hell out of people. How's the cursing on this?
You're okay, dude. Like, as long as you're okay with it, I'm okay with it. So
how about the listeners? All right with that?
Yeah, they're gonna have to be.
All right, good. So I do that a lot. So basically, we were in this fitness realm, and I injured myself. The end of when we were graduating, I herniated my L4, L5 disc, 10 millimeters, and I stopped exercising for about a year and a half. So I couldn't move, I couldn't sleep, I had trouble going to the bathroom, there was no sex life, there was no fun for a large period of time. I was taking all these medications, all this stuff. I was told by 3 surgeons I had to have surgery. I did not go that route because my uncle had 6 back surgeries, and none of them have helped. So in that process, year and a half process, I learned that I had to take control of my own body because everyone else was just trying to get me better as fast as possible, like we've been doing with our patients. Mm-hmm. And it was another 2 years of working with patients after I got injured, and I started really applying my methods of going slowly, focusing on fundamental movement patterns, applying those to every case. So it didn't matter whether you had knee pain, back pain, neck pain, shoulder pain. I ended up doing the same exact movements for everyone because what's missed in the medical industry is the focus of understanding that the entire body is connected. If you got knee pain, they just focus on the knee. They're like, all right, we're going to focus on turning on your VMO and strengthening this one quadricep muscle. And that's not how the process works. Your knee is supported by your foot and your hip. So, we thought to ourselves, how can we turn this process into an online program? Because they're doing exercises now. We stopped doing the adjustments. We stopped doing the massage and all that stuff that would quickly fix people, and really started to get people to realize that they had to put in work themselves. It isn't about us doing work to you. It's about you changing for yourself. And that goes for anything in life. You have to put in the work yourself to make it happen. You can't let someone else make a business for you. You have to do it. So we started to do about Instagram a year before that, just making videos to try to get people into our office. And when we decided to transition from being in a clinic to online, we created an online program, changed our Instagram name from Cali Spine to MoveU, and created this online movement rehab kind of exercise program that didn't require people to send medical information. It doesn't require MRIs and X-rays and really anything about your past, because we realized that there are no, it didn't matter what diagnosis you had. Every time you do the same process of these movements, everyone gets better. So we now have about 2,000 members, and they pay a fee of anywhere from $697 to $997 to get into the program, and it's about 4 to 8 months of work. So they are putting in 4 to 8 months of work every day. And it isn't like a clinic where you come in once or twice a week to see your PT or chiropractor. You're doing this stuff daily, for anywhere from 15 minutes. Some people are doing 2 hours a day, and they're seeing tremendous results and lasting results. And yeah, we have, that's it. That's the gist of it. And we're making other programs, and that's some stuff we can talk about later in the show.
That's awesome. I am so I think what you guys are doing is just amazing. Obviously, you have an amazing following on Instagram with MoveU. When you think about how you guys got to this point, obviously you were working with Mike. Would you say that Mike was a good mentor in your life to get you to this point, or did you guys have other mentors, or did you have other mentors that you looked up to?
I would say that Mike was my mentor at the time, and for many years actually. And he got me away from being super shy and just kind of holding off from things. And he really helped to push me into situations that I didn't want to be in, including public speaking and just taking charge of myself and making changes in my life. So Mike has really helped to challenge my boundaries. And as a result, I've become a much better speaker, more entertaining on camera, things that I just didn't do a long time ago. I was definitely shy. So that's been very big, and I've learned a lot from him. And at this point, you were talking about, hey, what mentors do you have in your life? He was definitely one of them. Now he himself has like 5 or 6 mentors. They're all, millionaires, billionaires. And I've met a lot of these guys, and I've talked to many of them. So I'd say that some of them are mentors to me as well, more so to him. And I've learned quite a bit from them over the last couple of years, as well as just having people to confide in. And so my parents, my mom specifically, my grandmother, and then one woman on our team, Katie. She's just had a lot of experience with nursing and finances, and she understands this process of business. So it's been nice to have her feedback in the process of business. And then I did Landmark Forum. Have you heard of that? Have you heard of Landmark Forum? Okay, so I recommend you look that up, because it is a, why do I want to say self-help? It would be like
is it personal development?
That's the word. Thank you. Personal development, and I did about 2.5 years of that, and that was extremely beneficial, just because you can learn all this stuff about business, but it always comes down to you and how your mindset is. For me, I was always just constantly angry at the little things, and so really taking control of those things and pushing them away, and understanding how to control my anxiety and fears and all that stuff was very powerful for me. So going through a lot of that self-development work has been massive.
I'm really glad that you actually hit on that, because that was going to be my next question. Like, what impact did personal development have on your life, if you had any? And so it just seems like that's something that did make a big impact in your life.
Huge.
And so what would you say? I mean, to people that may not know very much about personal development, how can you get involved in personal development? How can you find a coach, or how did you find your coach, or this
Well,
group?
Landmark Forum is a group, so you do it. There would be anywhere from 50 to 300 people in the room at a time, and that's how the first one goes. So it's more of like group therapy type stuff, and it's 3 days, like solid 16-hour days, like in a row. Boom, boom, boom. You're immersed in that situation, and then they have other classes in their curriculum with smaller group sizes and everything. And then I went through a lot of that stuff. But anything that focuses on really beating down on these things that you like to hold on to, these fears that you have in your past, it's really the focusing on the things that have happened in your past that are going to hold you back so damn much. So understanding that, thinking about what's going on right now in the present, and with some emphasis on thinking about the future. The thing about thinking about our future is that all of our thoughts about the future come from our past generally. So understanding how to separate those two things is very powerful. I would say it's just good for anyone. And for all the people that I tried to get to go to the Landmark Forum, there was a lot of fear behind it, afraid of going to those things. I don't want to find out what's wrong with me, type of thing. There's nothing wrong with you. You're human. We're all just kind of goofy.
That's awesome. And I think you hit it right on the head. People are just afraid to step up to the plate and actually truly get out of their comfort zone, because that's really something that's out of someone's comfort zone. So that's really important.
Tears involved, and it's okay. It's good stuff.
Nobody's judging. You're the only one judging. Everybody there is trying to get better.
Yeah,
that's awesome. So obviously, for myself, I'm very huge on I'm huge on personal development. I'm big on philosophies. What were some of the philosophies that you learned over the course of the past couple of years that you really cling on to, and you like sharing with other people?
There's a few, and I wouldn't necessarily know that the listeners would understand it without kind of being in that environment and going through the process of all the detail. But for me, the stories that we apply to situations in our life are things that really guide us into bad directions. So say you get in a fight with someone, whether it's your boss or someone in a relationship, and you start to apply all this meaning behind it. You start really making up things as to why that person's angry with you, or for whatever reason something's happening. You're like, say you're having financial difficulties, and you apply all of these stories to why you have financial difficulties. Well, it's because Trump is our president, and all these things. You start applying blame and all these different things to why you don't have money, when in reality it comes down to the fact that you aren't taking action, and you're the one that isn't doing X to get Y. That's all it is, really. The simple facts are, you're not putting in the work to get Y. So you're going to work, you're doing these things, but you're not going above and beyond in everything you do to make a difference for your employer or for your business to really thrive. And that's what's going to increase your revenue, your income, whatever.
Your happiness, your revenue, your success, whatever it may be that you're striving for.
It is, whether it's a relationship. So, if you're getting in fights with your fiance or something like that, it comes down to, well, what is actually happening in the situation? Is it that, I'm trying to think of something. Yes, you put a habanero in their meal on purpose, and like that's why they're angry with you. Like it's not applying that, oh, it's she's mad at me because they don't like my cooking or something. It's more that you've delivered, just looking at the facts. That was the worst example I could have ever thought of.
No, it was a good example. It was a great example. I hate when people put habaneros in my meal.
but really applying more meaning to it and really fighting about it, and how those fights keep happening over time. And that goes for anything in life, not just relationships. But we just keep applying all these what if stories to our life that really drive us in a direction that isn't helpful.
Right. I like what you're saying, just because have you heard of Jim Rohn by any chance?
Jim Rohn, I think.
He's like a personal development guy. He's dead now. He's gone. But he had said something along the lines of what you said. And he's like a top end personal development coach. But he basically put it in the sense of, you got, if you want to plant a tree, you got the seed, you got the soil, you got the wind, the water, the sun, or whatever, and that's all you got, right? So once you start blaming those things, you're like, it's because of the sun. It's like, you can't have a tree without the sun. And it's kind of the same thing with your life, right? Like, you have XYZ going on in your life. Well, don't blame it. Utilize it. Use it as a resource to help grow yourself. Like, don't look at it as a hindrance, but look at it as a more of an opportunity for you, to learn or grow or whatever it may be. But really, at the end of the day, if you want life to change, you must change. You know what I mean? And so I really love the fact that you hit it on the head with that. That was awesome.
I liked your example a lot more.
Feel free to use it, man. Feel free to use it. So,
for instance, I guess I use examples like, people have their diagnosis. They have a herniated disc in their back, for instance. That they're like, this is why I have pain. People that have herniated discs, they can't travel, they can't lift, they can't have fun, they can't do anything in life if they have this. And that's what they've been told by medical doctors. And those are all really stories, because you can do all of those things that I just mentioned. You're relying on someone else's opinion to drive you in that direction. You're relying on those what if situations, those stories that have been told without you actually taking action yet. So in our program, we have a community, and we really get people to realize that it doesn't matter what their diagnosis is. You put in work, you understand what your imbalances are in your body and what movement patterns are incorrect, and you will see changes. You just put in the work. You have to have a little bit of guidance, and that's the same for any sort of continued growth work, that you're getting some guidance in the right direction in terms of your negative thinking versus your positive thinking.
Right. And having that guidance, it kind of brings me to my next point of, I personally believe that the statement, I agree with the statement. It's about who you know rather than what you know. Do you agree with that statement? I mean, if not, you can, explain either way.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of an example. I mean, again, since I'm in the medical, you look at medical doctors that know just a shitload of information and they aren't helping people. So, I mean, really, knowledge isn't power. It's what you do with that knowledge that gives you power. And so, a lot of people are driven by this medical model. I'd say that we know a lot of really great people because of the authenticity that we put out in our videos. We are just ourselves. So we bring in people that are also pretty authentic in their way of being. So I think that we pull in an amazing crowd, and we've met so many incredible people as a result that are very intelligent. And I trust the people on our program that are people that are police officers, they're finance analysts, they're, teachers that know more about the human body now after having gone through the process than most PTs and chiros that I know personally, who have gone through and gotten all the knowledge. I don't know if that's kind of what you're looking for.
Yeah, I mean, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, you do believe that it's about who you know rather than what you know, because you can know a lot of stuff. I got you, man.
You can
I got
know
you.
a ton of stuff, but it comes down to who you know, the people that you're trying to impact, really. Like, what is your goal? Right. You can have all this knowledge, but what is your ultimate goal behind having that knowledge? Yeah, I think I took a little different route on that.
No. Once again, like, I honestly, that was half the reason why I wanted you on this show, is because I like I like where you take things. I really do. So, it gives a whole nother perspective on the way that I may think of it, because the viewers, later down the road will actually understand a little bit more. Like, they might agree with you more than they do with me. You know what I mean? And the way that you explain it. So that's why I want to get people like yourself and others that might have a different viewpoint or a different way of explaining the same exact viewpoint.
Yeah.
You know?
In terms of connections, yes. So the connections that have happened for us, and like we just had a meeting with an app developer recently. So the reason that connection happened is because of the many people that have. I mean, it's just I think of the chain of people that it's gone through to get to that guy, and there's probably 20 people that we've met from 4 years ago that it has chained through to get to this person. So does
Right.
that make sense? The relationships that have been passed through each other.
Yeah, no, it's 100% true, and it's one of those things where you don't, I mean, you don't know, but like the person sitting right next to you might have a connection that might lead to your success, but if you don't say hi to them, you know, it's just kind of like a lost opportunity.
Yeah. Okay.
And so that's one of my big things too, is like I want to teach people to get out of their comfort zone. Like, I mean, get from behind the screen, and if you notice that somebody has a nice watch on, tell them they have a nice watch and see where that conversation goes. If it builds to a friendship, then awesome. If not, then whatever. At least you got to have that conversation with that person.
Exactly. Yeah,
um
it's great that to have like a big following. We have so many people just reach out to us that you kind of forget to talk to other people, because yeah, we have a lot of people that are just reaching out, a lot of people that recognize us, and I talk to people all the time out on the street who just they come up to me, hey man, I love your stuff, and it's just great to have some open conversation, get some feedback on the stuff that we're doing, what we could do to improve, and that's cool. I don't know,
that's
not
awesome.
everyone has that kind of connection. Have so many people reach out, be like, I want to work with you, or this has changed my life, or this is what I can offer you. Da 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 da.
Right. 100%. I'm lucky enough to know you from school, so that's I got lucky on that one. Just obviously just picking classes. I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
oh yeah.
yeah. Me too.
Dude, it was a fun class, man. I gotta say that. I mean, Mike's class was a really fun class.
I learned a lot from that class, just because I feel like we're all kinesthetic learners. We learn by doing. So the fact that we spent so much time actually doing hands-on work I learned more in there than I did in, what was that one teacher's name? The
Perkins?
no, Perkins. That was good. That was anatomy though.
I love
Oh,
Perkins.
the trainer one, the woman who, she was mean.
She did the personal training. Oh, I know who you're talking about. Yeah. Like we did the taping in her class and all that stuff, right? Yeah.
I
I,
learned
I know
so
what you're
much
talking
from
about.
Mike's. In both of our classes.
That's so funny. Yeah, dude. I'm super excited about reconnecting with you, because I think I mean, here's one thing that I do really appreciate about Mike, um, is that when I first started my entrepreneurial journey, um, Mike, I kept thinking of the same thing Mike always said, and he's like, the reason why I'm teaching is not because I want, I'm not doing well in my chiropractic clinic. That's not the reason why I'm teaching. I'm teaching because I realize that education and like if I want to help multiple people, I could only help so many people in one day at my chiropractic clinic. But if I can inspire kids to become chiropractors or physical therapists or whatever through my teaching and my education, I have just now exponentially grown my impact on this world. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, dang, I did not even think of it that
Yep.
way. And so it's kind of like this whole idea of giving back to other people, because when they do something that when they took your knowledge or whatever,
Totally.
um, you had a piece of that impact.
And
So
that's even after he left the teaching and I was working with him. That was really a lot of our thoughts. Was like, we can only see a max of maybe 30 people a day. Even then, we're just dying doing it. So how can we impact more people? And we get around 6 million views a month, and we have several thousand people on our program, and each of those people is able to in turn impact their loved ones or friends or whatever. Or a lot of them are trainers. We have PTs and chiros in our program, and they're taking that information, helping others. So it's great to be able to really spread that word out and impact more people than just 30 we saw a day.
Right.
That's pretty cool.
No, you guys are doing an amazing job. I'm super excited. Just so everybody who's watching, their Instagram is MoveU, MoveU, the letter U, like university, and it's
Underscore.
an amazing underscore.
underscore official. Yeah, we couldn't get MoveU.
Oh, you couldn't? Okay, so underscore official. So MoveU underscore official is where you can find them. And also, I mean, Andrew, so kind of getting back on track with the personal development talk that we were just discussing. Tell me a little bit about one of the biggest struggles that you had when you first started, and how did you overcome that obstacle?
Biggest struggles. I think there's always a struggle for me in terms of just working with who I am as an individual, which is a controller. I want to control things. I want to be in charge of most things. So I just have a new roommate in my place. We just brought on to our team, and now he's living with us. He just moved in on July 4th, and for me to pass off some of the things that I do to him and trust him to do that is one thing that I'm always working on with myself, and that goes for any aspect of my life. But letting other people take away the control from me that I want to hold on to, because when I hold on to everything, I don't have any time. I try to do everything in my day, and it's just not possible. Like, I want to make sure everything's perfect my way, but that's just not realistic. So something I'm always working on is passing off things or things that I can't control, letting them happen. And
that's good.
That's who I am. I can't change that core. So it's something that I'm always going to have to work on. So that's something then and now that I'm always working on.
So when you start to feel yourself trying to take control, what do you do to change that thought?
So I'm not sure what. There was a distinction that I learned in Landmark that really just kind of gets you to that I use for myself, and I'm not sure how to describe it, but it's really just I sit down and simply I just have a conversation with myself in a way that has an actual outcome, and I do not know how to explain it. It just happens now because I did spend 2.5 years doing this work and really opening up. It's almost more meditative in a sense. I don't meditate, but I just kind of get some clarity going through some conversations with myself and separating stories from what's happening and letting things actually really go. So really, if you guys can just do some self work, what's the Tony Robbins, that kind of stuff is really what kind of Landmark is about. I'm sure people have heard of Tony Robbins. There's another one called ALA in San Diego. It's Ascension Leadership Academy, and that one's expensive, but it's way more immersive and intense. And people have seen some major changes in their life from that. I haven't done it yet. Mike has. I mean, there's just so many things out there, like Buddhism, a lot of religions. A lot of those things follow the same general principles. It's not new stuff. So just getting some of that self-improvement is just massive for you.
That's awesome.
That helps.
Yeah, no, I think introspective thinking is huge. I think introspective thinking is huge, and I think that's kind of what you're talking about is having, like, whenever you start to feel that urge or whatever it may be, you have that conversation with yourself, and you almost have an outcome that you already want, and so you try to figure out how that conversation can work with yourself to get to that outcome that you want.
Yes, and I still tend to try and control the situation away just by giving them, like, teaching this guy some things that'll lead him in the direction that I want. So I think that's how most employers really do things anyways. You're going to respond to emails in this way so that you get this response. Similar concept.
Yeah, it's very much influence. Leadership is influence, right? So
Mhm.
you know what's going to be the best outcome with how you write your email, right? So you want to. I mean,
Far as
you're
I
almost in a sense, yeah. Well, right, and obviously you can learn from him. He's like, oh well, I
I do
had
this and I have
20,000.
the results. Well,
Yeah, exactly. And it's a little bit of like testing, because sometimes you have to fail to understand what
yes,
the truth is.
always.
So
I feel like you always have to fail to understand.
exactly.
One of my
You know,
favorite, I was gonna say, one of my favorite Will Smith quotes is I think it's fail early, fail often, fail forward. I love that. I always remember that whenever something crazy goes wrong, I'm just like, all right, this is an important learning experience in my life. Whatever failure, whatever loss of money, whatever we have, it's like, all right, we just learned some valuable stuff for the rest of our life there.
that's awesome. Yeah, that's a good one. I like that. Fail often, fail
Fail
fast,
early,
fail forward.
fail often, fail forward.
Thank you. And you know what? Actually, one of my biggest fears that I had to overcome was fear. Uh, like I just had fear towards failure. I didn't want to fail. I think one of the biggest things is most of us don't want to fail because we kind of associate failure with negativity. Uh,
Yeah.
what is one thing? So for myself, it was failure was my biggest fear. What was one big fear that you had when you started this journey with Mike to get to the point where you're at now?
Um, really not amounting to anything. I mean, that's still something that I'm always kind of. I have this fear back there that what we're doing may fall apart. We may never officially just change people's lives. Our goal is to really change millions of people's lives, get them back to taking control of their own bodies, so they don't have to rely on so many other people. They're not reliant on the opinions of other doctors and chiros and PTs, but to really have a full understanding of their body and how they feel and understand how to respond to that. So for me, it's feeling that we aren't going to make that impact, and not necessarily that I'm going to be viewed as the person who's made that impact, but to actually make that impact happen. So a fear of not succeeding in that regard.
No, that's a huge fear for everybody.
Yeah,
Um, and I think really it comes down to, you see all this amazing stuff going on in social media, and you have this perceived aspect of success, and with that comes people who are, you know, under, like, not in front of your face, but are kind of like, I hope he fails, you know, and,
no,
and it's
I
to make them
teach
feel better.
myself all the time. I get it.
So I think that's one of the big things too, is just like people need to get out of the idea that whoever really wants you to fail, their opinion really doesn't matter, right? It's
And
this
that's an
whole
issue with
idea.
self, really. That's some internal stuff that they're having issues with, and I've learned that a lot from dealing with haters and all these people on the internet. Is It's really comes down to, if they're arguing with you about something, it's something internally they're having issues with.
Right. Well, I'm glad you brought that to light, because I think um, there are people that are hurting out there that want to hurt other people,
Yeah,
and so you got to deal with it with a grain of salt whenever somebody comes at you negatively.
definitely, and that's something I'm always working on, because we'll post something that is just a little bit more edgy or controversial, and it'll pull in a lot of haters, and it's easy for we'll have 900 comments and 850 of them are positive and 50 of them have some negativity, and it's like, those are the 50 that I see, and I don't see the other positivity.
Mm-hmm.
All the positive ones are like, you guys have changed my life forever. My relationship's better. I'm doing XYZ. My kids are happy. Like, I just glaze over that and I look at the one that's like, you guys are evil. You guys are just focused on the money. You're just, I'm like, what the hell? And then I focus on that guy. So that's something I'm also working on. And I think that happens for a lot of influencers out there. And I even listen to Joe Rogan talk about some of that. It's like, why do we do that? We just focus on the negative things.
Yeah.
Same way for him.
And I like the comment you made is that, you know, when people say you've made an impact on my life, that's an amazing feeling.
Yeah.
It kind of gets me to the point of, you know, my biggest personal belief is that you really find your purpose when you're giving back. Is there any like organizations that you're currently working with outside of like MoveU or anything like that that you want people to know about that made a huge impact on you?
I am not working with any organizations currently. I did see that question on there. I'm like, shoot. I'm like, I've only been doing MoveU, and for me is you said community or organizations. The only thing I could think of is that I've created a community in our program, and I did not expect it to be so damn successful. We created an exercise program. It was like, you do movements, you get better. And with that, we created a Facebook group, private Facebook group that's got about 1,500 people in it. And these 1,500 people have become the most die-hard fans and helpers and just leaders, really, of all the other people. Whenever new people come in, they are commenting like crazy. If someone posts an issue, they post a video of their movements, there's at least 10 comments on it, just detailed paragraphs of information from each of the other people in the community that I'm not even able to give any feedback. And what happened there was I spent about 8 hours a day on top of everything else we were doing for about 400 days in that group. So I was honing that group and really guiding it in the direction that I wanted, where it involved people being very, very analytical of their movements and their thoughts and their mindset, the words that they say on a daily basis that are negative and that limit your actions. Really being aware of those things, honing in like how people see injury and diagnosis and shifting that paradigm. That is what that group has turned into. So whenever someone comes in and says, "Oh, my disc hurts" or something, people, they don't lash out at them. They shift their thinking, and that's what our community has had the power of doing. And I would love to see that community become massive and expand outward into the world, because people would benefit from having that kind of mindset of understanding that you have control over anything that's going on with your body, whether it's finances, disease, relationship, your body pain, whatever the issue is, whatever goal you want to achieve. It comes down to this thing right here, up in this dome, and a lot of people do not realize that at all. So that community that we've created, I would love to see just explode. That's really the community I've given back to, and I haven't done any sort of charity work just yet.
No, and that, you know what, honestly, I think you just put a whole new perspective on what that question was. I mean, initially speaking, you know, you created something yourself. You know, there's people out there that may not be able to create anything, or maybe they haven't found something that really did impact them, so they want to create it themselves. And so you've kind of provided them a little bit of information on how to do that. So maybe that's a good conversation for another day for sure. So kind of going back to your community. So how can people reach out to you if they have any questions about MoveU or about your community, or how to get involved with your program? What are the ways that they can reach out to you?
They can reach out to us via email, info@moveu.com. They can go to MoveU_official on Instagram. They can go to MoveU on Facebook. That's a smaller community. You can also go to MoveU.com/forever-fix. And, oh, wait, I forget what it is. You know what? MoveU.com/FF. That's easier to remember. That one works just to get some idea about what our program is. A lot of the people that join our program have been dosed over time via our social media. So some people that join 6 months after they've seen our information, because we do throw a lot of that mindset into each of our goofy little videos. Yes, they're funny, they're ridiculous. I wear skimpy clothes and paint things and move like a weirdo. But underneath all of that, there's a key mindset there that really shows you are in power of your life, and you're going to learn some movement stuff in the videos, but it comes down to you taking control, and people see that. And some people don't even necessarily need to join our program. They pick that up and they apply that to their daily life just based off of the videos that they see on Instagram. People are making changes in their lives from that, and that blows us away. We're like, how did you do that without having a plan like our program? So, but yeah,
Awesome.
so that's
awesome. I appreciate it. I hope you guys that are watching this and listening to this, I hope you guys choose you and you want to make a change. If you guys want to find Andrew, you can find him on Instagram, Facebook, every aspect. I'll also post a link in the bio below. But Andrew, thank you so much, man. I really do appreciate it. And you guys out there, I know that we learned a lot, but I think one of the big things that you guys should walk away with is that it starts with you. So make sure that if there's anything going on in your life, it really comes down to you and how you want to fix it. So thank you so much, Andrew.
100%.
And until next time, everybody, make every minute count.